I wrote my first lines of code in the month of July 2018, and this was a C++ program that could do a CRUD relationship with a database, which was okay. It was fine. And I never thought that I would look at it again until, maybe say 2019, 2020. But the truth of the matter is, I have actually never looked at it again. And then fast forward to all these different things that I've done where I have evolved my learning expertise when it comes to programming. I've learned things to do with Java and object-oriented programming, object-oriented PHP, learning web development through HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and still to this day in 2024, where I have settled down on PHP and developing applications for the web, I am yet to find anybody that's just too dumb to learn code. So most people will come out here and start proclaiming that this thing is such a difficult thing to get into. People will start talking about how this thing requires so many different things and so many different disciplines. You need high IQs to get into it. And I'm actually going to go in and debunk all these things. So let's actually begin. So let's get one thing straight. Coding is not rocket science. It can be if you're actually coding for rockets. But for most of us, it's actually not that deep. You don't need a PhD. You don't need a 1,000 IQ points. You don't need a computer science degree. You actually don't need all of these different things. In fact, the only thing you need to start coding is a computer, an internet connection, and a little bit of time. But here's the dirty secret. Listen. Most of us, even the professionals, right, spend 90% of their time Googling stuff. Not even joking, by the way. Forget thinking that you need to memorize every single piece of code. That's what search engines are for. Coding and documentation goes hand in hand when you're dealing with such things. So if you want to learn from scratch, documentation is already there input for you. If you want to learn how to Google stuff, if you want to learn now how to chat GPT stuff, then follow this channel. Ladies and gentlemen, you're slacking if you think that this channel is just about coding from scratch and memorizing. We're going to be doing a lot of ChatGPT and Google and Stack Overflow and all those different things and learning how to go around different errors. And that's the essence and the echelons of coding. Because coding is 90% problem solving and 10% typing. Trust me. And plus, even this typing is most of the time Control-V, Control-C, and all those different little things. I'll give you the qualifications for even getting into coding. If you've ever fixed a leaky faucet, put your TV together, or fixed furniture, like let's say, for example, some of you may be from the US, you've bought items from IKEA and put them back together just by following certain instructions. If all of those things are within your skill set, trust me, you're ready. You're already a shoo-in. In fact, you're already a programmer as we speak. Now, I want to talk about why you, as the general public, yes, you, can actually start learning coding. First off, I want to say this, coding is not a talent, all right? It's a skill that is developed over time. And like any skill, it's about repetition and practice. Nobody gets behind the wheel of a car for the first time and then starts drifting like a maniac, like Dominic Toretto in Fast and the Furious. No one does those things. Nobody. You have to start slow. Take your time with your code, and make mistakes as many times as you want. But over time, you'll definitely get the hang of it. You'll get better. You will code things that are preposterous and absolutely stupendous, out of this world. And you can probably do this in less than 3 months if you follow this channel. Second thing, you have resources. Let's not even talk about back in the day what people used to use, because I remember my mother telling me that she would also be getting into C++ programming, which was the general language that everybody used to learn when they were coding back in the day. Right? She would go off the shelf and get dusty ass books and shell out cash for expensive classes. I mean, it's just all over the place. There's no reason why. Right now, when you have all the resources, when you have all the online tools, and you have artificial intelligence teaching you as well, there's no reason why, or no excuse why, you cannot actually understand how to write code. Not to mention those other free sources like Free Code Camp, Code Academy, and yes, I keep on forgetting, YouTube. Particularly Nyanumba Code's channel. go follow. Because guys like me right now, as we speak, we're ready to step up and actually teach the real stuff, just like I am doing right now. And lastly, ladies and gentlemen, let's bust a very mind-boggling myth that is always there online, right? You don't need to be good at math. Please get that out of your system. You do not need to be good at math. Trust me. All right. I have been in the tech game long enough to tell you that programming rarely involves things like calculus or Markov analysis or whatever bullshit that those guys who are coding in C# and C++ are going to be coming here and telling you. You don't need operational research level mathematics to actually get into coding. You just need to know how to add stuff, subtract stuff, multiply stuff, divide stuff, and then know exactly when and where you're going to be using these things. You're not going to be coding a square root function. That comes right out of the box for most of the best developed programming languages. And I'm looking at you C++ developers. I know you have to go ahead and use square root developed by yourselves. I know this. Maybe I don't. Okay, so now you're ready to start. So where are you going to start from? And what now? Do you dive straight into an algorithmic equation that is going to be so hardcore and so complex to understand? Absolutely not. Ladies and gentlemen, please don't do that. Don't do that. And then when you do that and you've watched this video, don't come back here and start saying, oh, Steve Nyanumba told me to do this. Steve Nyanumba told me to go to Leet Code straight away, and you don't even know how to type your own name. Bruv, get a grip of yourself, man. This is how you actually start. You have to pick a language. That's number one. Pick a language. All right. For beginners, I will normally recommend Python. It's simple, it's readable, it's used pretty much everywhere, actually. Nah, that's actually false. The one that's usually used everywhere, that's JavaScript. JavaScript is hands objectively the best programming language in the world because it deals with the back end, it deals with the front end, and more on that in a later video, actually, because I think many people will want to wonder what the hell is front end? What the hell is back end? We will deal with that. Just subscribe and ask those same questions in the community tab or in the comment section of this video, and we will get right into it. But you can get into JavaScript, ladies and gentlemen. That's the best objectively programming language in the planet. The second thing I would say is you just need to do small projects, all right? Once you've gotten the syntax of these particular languages, you can start building small things here and there. You can start by building a homepage once you've learned HTML and CSS. You can start doing a to-do list once you've learned a back-end language and a front-end framework, probably. And then you can always go ahead and, do things like build a calculator, build a to-do list application, something very manageable so that you can actually build confidence and take that momentum into the next level of programming, that is building actual systems. Like the one that we've built in the inventory application series that I started 8 days ago. So go check that out as well if you are intermediate. I will say this, if you're intermediate. If you're a beginner, first of all, start tasting the breast milk first before you go into the solid food. And then again, we just need to go ahead and code every single day. And it's always enough to take 10 to 15 minutes out of your day just trying to learn something new and implementing it on your own. You don't need a lot of time. You don't need 2 to 24 hours of the day just coding. All you just need to do is 15 minutes a day, one step at a time. And we were going to be making 15-minute tutorials in this channel as well. 15-minute crash courses on HTML that's coming in the beginning of 2025. Crash courses on CSS that's coming in as well. Crash courses on JavaScript. Crash courses on PHP, Node.js, creating backend and frontend, understanding the essence of web development, becoming a full stack web developer, and becoming a full stack developer all round, including mobile applications, desktop applications, and applications for all kinds of platforms, including the TV that you own in your home. But here's the real thing, and just to tone it down just a little bit, the real trick is you don't have to go ahead and do it alone. You can't actually manage it like that. So what happens is you just need to find a community, people who are like-minded, people who are getting into the same field of programming as you are, and you'll be able to get things done much better because you're already getting into a certain level of experience that you've gotten from your community buddies. And that is how you build on the things that you already know and build on the things that you're already working on. You'll even find mates who you think on the same wavelength as when it comes to being creative with code and not just dealing with the syntax alone, but dealing with actual real world problems and actually developing solutions that you can already think and visualize in your mind based off of what it is that you can do already. And through these communities, you'll be very amazed how much faster you can learn when you're surrounded by others on the same journey. But now I want to get into something that nobody ever tells you about coding. And this is very serious stuff. I know I'm just talking. I know this is just a talking head video. And I know that most people will wonder, okay, I'm not showing any piece of code right now, but what gives? Let me give you a very critical secret that nobody tells you when you start coding. It's not going to feel natural, all right? It's going to feel very out of place. You're going to scream out of the top of your mind, and you're just going to be asking yourself every single time, what the hell am I doing? What the actual hell am I doing? You're going to want to give up. You're going to want to get out of this particular niche. You're going to get frustrated multiple times by errors and debugging and all those different things. But that's the process. Ladies and gentlemen, the first few weeks or even months are awkward, very awkward. But then after some time, something magical automatically happens. You write some code, and then all of a sudden, it works. It works, and then you feel like a wizard. And then the moment you realize all these things are happening, then you come into a self-coming moment, and you just be like, hey, I can actually do this. I can actually do this. It's not about being perfect, ladies and gentlemen. Please don't get that out of your mind right now. You're not supposed to be perfect at this. It's about getting better, improvement, Kaizen, all right? Self-improvement, one line of code at a time. But ladies and gentlemen, if you're still not convinced, I will hit you with some real life success stories that I've encountered in my time. I've seen people who have started coding in their 40s, their 50s, their 60s, and even landed tech jobs, ladies and gentlemen. I've seen it happen. I've seen people like my own mother code in Visual Basic in Excel. I've seen it happen. I've seen things, and these are things that they pick up like from very little experience on Excel or very little experience on coding with Excel, and then they're able to all of a sudden generate payrolls using Excel and payslips using Excel just by the click of a button on the basis of something that they already programmed. It's something very beautiful, actually. And you can do it too. You can do it too. I've seen people also switch careers. I've seen people be chefs, all right? Be petrol station customer attendants. I've seen people be doctors and switch their entire careers completely, become developers in top tier tech companies in Kenya, in the world, everywhere. I will just want to pose this question. If those people can do it, what's actually stopping you? And here's the kicker, ladies and gentlemen. Coding isn't just a job, all right? It's a superpower. I'm going to say this every single time and every single chance that I get. Coding isn't just a job, it's a superpower. You can automate boring tasks, like I mentioned, the payroll and payslip situation. You can build your dream projects and make money out of them. And you can even start a side hustle. Just from that little spectrum, you can do all those different things at once. And the possibilities are endless. Ladies and gentlemen, the possibilities are endless. So here's the deal. And I want you guys to get this very, very clearly, okay? You're not too dumb to learn coding. There's nobody that is too dumb to start coding. The only thing that is actually stopping you is the story that you actually tell yourself. It's all in here. It's all in here. Change that story first of all. Change that story entirely and start. Because if you change the story, ladies and gentlemen, you change your entire life. So, like I said, take the steps. Start today. Pick a language. Write your first line of code. And then when you get stuck, which you will, by the way, when you get stuck, don't quit. All right? Otherwise, you'll be a quitter at this particular point. You won't be a coder. You won't be a programmer. You won't be a developer. You will be a quitter. Don't quit when you start. And then there's one thing that most people don't do inside the coding space, and that is ask for help. You need to ask for help to be able to reach the heights that you need to reach. Ask for as much help as you can get. You can even take it as a step further. Yeah, you learn on my videos, you see that I have the capability, or you may think that I have the capability to solve the problem that you're running into. Drop a comment down there. And remember, coding isn't just about, it's not about being perfect. It's about not giving up. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I will bid you farewell. Now go out there, write some code, ladies and gentlemen, and make me proud. I will be seeing you guys in the next videos. Please do indeed take care, and God bless.